Kurmo nagani vasarvasaha. Indriyan indriyartebhyas. Indriyan indriyartebhyas. Tasya pragya pratisthita. Tasya pragya pratisthita. Okay, yada. When. Samharate. Winds up. Cha. Also. Ayam. He. Kurma. Tortoise. Angani. Limbs. Iva. Like. Sarvasaha. Altogether. Indriyani. Senses. Indriyartebhya. From sense objects. Tasya. His. Pragya. Consciousness. Pratisthita. Fixed. Translation. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Okay, please repeat. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, as read by Rima. Raria. You want to read?
The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do-nots and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do-nots, restricting oneself from the self-enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness.
Wait a minute. Read that sentence again. Unless
one is able to follow the do's and the do-nots, restricting oneself from self-enjoyment.
No, from sense enjoyment.
From
sense enjoyment.
It is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. The best example set here is the tortoise.
The tortoise.
Can at any moment wind up his senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purposes. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord, instead of for his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise, who keeps the senses within.
Very good. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Well, this is a description of yoga. Yoga means connecting with Krishna. So what do you connect? How is the way you connect? You connect through the senses and the mind. Mind, of course, is the sixth sense. So, in order to connect the senses always with Krishna, you have to withdraw them from connection to other things. Right? So, I mean, if you do a little survey during the day, what attracts your senses? What would you say?
I don't know.
What do you like to do throughout the day? What do you think you like it?
Like, it could be a video game, it could be so many different things. Like, do any of those, what attracts your senses during the day?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, explain to me what you do during the day. Don't say I don't know.
Eat.
Huh? Eat? Okay, that's one thing. What else? You play any games? Yes? What game? Huh?
I think I forgot.
You think you forgot, okay. What if you think some more? Can you remember? Well, what do you do? You wake up,
Yeah.
and then what do you do?
I go to the bathroom.
Okay, what do you do after that?
Brush and shower and get ready, I guess.
And then what do you
Go downstairs to eat breakfast.
And then?
Eat. After it's ready.
You what?
Eat
What? After you eat?
Don't have time to?
Yeah.
But you should know what you do, right?
I do different things.
Huh? Different things. That's okay. Whatever you do, you tell.
Yeah. What are those things that you do?
I study.
Okay. Huh? I didn't hear you. Do you watch television?
No.
Okay. Do you play any games?
I play physically. No.
Physically?
Yeah.
But like basketball?
No. Like running, something like that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good. So your senses are involved with eating, bathing, studying, running. Anything else? Do you fight with your brother?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's another one. So now, in order to be Krishna conscious, if you bathe for Krishna, in other words, you want to be clean for Krishna. Do you do any arti or anything like that, or bow down to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to be clean when you do that, right? Right. You don't want to go down there and have bad breath and old clothes on, right? So that is keeping your senses away from, let's say, something that takes them away from Krishna. So in other words, if you bathe for Krishna, dress for Krishna, eat Krishna prasadam, and study, and all these things, if you do it for Krishna, then you're connected to Krishna. It's called yoga. But if you take your mind off of Krishna, like you might say when you're fighting with your brother, you can't offer that to Krishna. So that's called Maya. So that part of the day you're in Maya when you're fighting with your brother. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's not you fail the test of a yogi. Let's put it like that. You fail the test when you do that. Okay. That's what this verse is about. It's about the yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, meaning the senses are compared to serpents. Serpent is a snake. Like a snake charmer, he never allows them to act independently. In other words, a snake charmer, have you ever seen a snake charmer?
No, I've not seen it, but I've seen pictures.
Uh-huh. I actually saw it
I
several
think I
times.
saw it
Yeah? Where?
at India.
You saw it in India, right.
Yeah, my mom did.
Yeah,
Do you-
when we were small, they used to come.
Yeah?
It was very common for us when we were small. They would come and then we used to do something and then we would give them.
Yeah, when I went to Morocco, to a small town called Marrakesh, every day they have a mela there. And these different people come. You know, there's musicians and dancers, and they had a snake charmer. And the snake charmer would dance with the snake in his hand. And he'd go right up to the people. He came right up to me, and I put the snake right in my face. It was very frightening, you know. And he just dances around and goes in front of everyone with the snake. You know, it's a real cobra. It was not just an ordinary snake, it's a real cobra, you know. He probably had cut the teeth out, you know, so it can't actually, it can bite, but it can't inject the poison. But it's still, it's frightening. And then he played some kind of a flute, and the snake was going up and down, and, you know. So the senses are compared to snakes. And the snake charmer controls the snake. It doesn't allow the snake to act independently. So in the same way, if you can not let your senses act independently, like when you're fighting with your brother, that's when your senses are acting independently. And you're taking them away from, they're taking you away from Krishna. So if we keep, yogis always keep their senses focused on Krishna or Krishna conscious activity. That way, there's things called do's and do nots. So you know what a do is and a do not is?
You can do this, but you cannot do that.
Yes. Any example? You can chant Hare Krishna, right? So that's a do. And you should not fight with your sister or or like he does with his brother.
Doesn't every sibling do that?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it depends if they're in Maya, yeah. Okay, you know what a sibling is?
Yeah,
What's a sibling?
it's like a brother or sister.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. Okay. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do-nots, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. So firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness means your mind is always focused on pleasing Krishna. So before you decide to do something that's not pleasing to Krishna, you have to think, will this action that I'm going to take, will it be pleasing to Krishna or not pleasing? So fighting with your siblings is not pleasing to Krishna. Talking nonsense is not pleasing to Krishna. Anything where you forget Krishna is not pleasing to Krishna.
But then what if someone asks you a question and you like have to answer it? But it's not related to Krishna, then what would you do?
Well, see, then you have to be an expert and know how to bring the answer to the question to Krishna. So someone asks you, give me an example of someone asking you a question that's not related to Krishna. Go ahead.
I don't know, like maybe in school, like the teacher asks you a question, or
Like, for example, give me an example.
or like maybe the students would ask you like, how much homework do you have?
Yeah, you say, well, I have a lot of homework, and I organize it so that I can do part of it as soon as I get home. Then I take a break and chant Hare Krishna, and then I do the rest after I chant Hare Krishna. So you brought it to Krishna. You got it? Okay. So they heard you say Hare Krishna. And so, what's that? You say, what's what? You say, Hare Krishna? You got him to say Hare Krishna. You see. So you brought it to Krishna. Got it?
Okay.
Any other questions you ask?
What did they ask you? What did you get for lunch?
You said that, my mom makes me a special lunch. I said, what's special about it? Well, it's offered to Krishna.
Oh.
Offered to Krishna? Who's that? Krishna.
No, I had an experience once. I had this
someone said, what is that?
Yeah, he said, there's a person named Krishna, and he's an atheist, and he was like, who's that blue guy? I'm like, that's Krishna.
Oh, that was an Indian in your class?
Yeah, he's an Indian.
Yeah.
He's an atheist.
His name is Krishna.
Well, at least you should always say, hi Krishna, how are you today? Krishna.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone calls him something else. Like, they don't call him Krishna.
So he doesn't mind that?
He doesn't mind that. Like, people call him something else, but they don't call him Krishna. The teacher does, but the students don't.
Well, so wait, let's analyze this. His name is Krishna, but
And
he's
he
an
was
atheist.
Yeah, and he was asking me, who is this blue guy?
His name is
Who is this blue
Krishna.
guy? Because my background had Krishna's picture on it.
So what did you tell him?
I said that this is Krishna. And I didn't know that he was an atheist at that time. I thought like he would maybe know.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I don't know that. Is that me? I was like, no, that's not you. That's God.
He's just acting, because every child, even if he's a atheist, would know who Krishna is. His parents would have told him.
You can't imagine the degree of ignorance
No,
of people.
he's the 5th generation in America, so he has
Then that could be.
Yeah, I've
Fifth
met
generation.
him many times.
in America. Yeah, he's not the 1st generation here.
How do you know that?
He told me. I interviewed him.
For
I
what?
mean, I talked to him.
Well, wait a minute. So his parents are not Indian, or they
They're
are?
Indian. They're Indian, but they were not born. Like they're not born.
It's a 5th generation, right?
Okay,
They lived
but-
in Medina. They were very rich.
What?
They lived in
Medina.
Yeah, they're very rich.
Okay, but wait a minute. Why would they name their son Krishna if they're not
Oh, that's
Krishna conscious?
That's what I was shocked.
I mean, just by saying the name Krishna all the time, you become Krishna conscious. I think there's more to the story than you're saying. You ever meet their parents? You ever meet the parents?
No. And there was one kid in your class who was saying that who's the cow god or something.
Oh yeah, there was this kid. He's actually born in India, but he hates Hindus. He has this, he hates Hindus.
Is he a Christian?
No, his parents are Hindu, but they eat meat.
What? Yeah, my cousins
You only
eat
meet
meat.
these freaks in advanced classes.
My cousins eat meat.
No, so basically he was they eat meat, but they don't eat like cow meat or like they don't eat beef. So
They don't eat pig, right?
yeah. They don't eat pig
That's
or
more
cow.
advanced. More advanced.
So he was saying that he said that I don't believe in God, but I'm not gonna tell my parents because I'm scared of them. I'll only tell them when I move out of the house. And he was like, as soon as I move out
How
of the
old is
house,
he?
Huh?
How old is he?
He's probably 12 or 13.
He's already thinking about moving out.
And he said
He's saving the best news for the end.
exactly yeah. And then he said that as soon as I leave, I'll eat meat. My parents don't let me eat meat because of some cow god, and I didn't want to he was screaming. I didn't want to say that was Krishna because then he was he said he said what's it called, a bad word when he was talking about the cow Krishna.
Well,
So she didn't tell him that that's Krishna because
Yeah,
she didn't
because
want
he
him to
was
bla-
he was
You were about to
blaspheming
blaspheme.
Krishna. Yeah.
well, you could.
And he used to sit next to me, and he would always tell me, "You're an Indian." I'm like, "So what? You're Indian too."
Looks like they put all the demons in your class, including the teacher. Yeah.
There's me, and there's another Indian guy named Krish, and he would always tease both of us that you're Indians, you're Indians, you're Indians.
Well, what is he?
He's Indian too, and he was born in India.
No, you see now. Let us analyze this because this is important. You have two Indian kids, and both of them are embarrassed, or let's say they're Indian, or let's say they don't like Indians.
Exactly, and the other guy named Krishna also doesn't like Indians.
Right. Now, Now, obviously, their parents don't tell them to not like Indians, right? So now, where do they learn to not like Indians?
School.
Exactly right.
Krishna was saying that he read all the books. He read the Bible, the Quran, but he hated the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata because it had too much war in it.
This is something probably he heard. And,
How can he read
exactly.
everything and
I
understand
don't know.
that?
That's what he said. That he read the Quran and the Bible and he liked all of them. He thought they were good. But he's still an atheist. But he thought that the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata were too violent.
Okay, and you
But
didn't
then
say
he didn't read the Bible. The Bible and the Quran are much more violent.
Okay, that's what
He
he
didn't
told me.
read. He didn't read the Bible at all.
Prabhu, in India they say that Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita you should not keep it in your house. I don't know about Bhagavad Gita, I'm not sure, but I forgot.
No, they said Bhagavad Gita. You'll have fighting in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. Let's go back to this point. Both of those kids' parents do not dislike Indians. In fact, they're probably proud to be Indians. But their kids dislike Indians and dislike themselves being an Indian. So
Yeah.
they're trying everything not to be Indian,
Yeah.
right? Now, where did they learn that? They didn't learn it from the parents. Right? So, Krishna, where did they learn it?
School, the gifted program.
What?
The gifted program.
In the gifted
School.
program. They learned it in school. So, do their parents know of the real opinion about Indians?
No, because they don't tell their parents.
See, this is
They
this
say
is why
that-
you shouldn't send your kids to these schools. It's because that's what happens.
Got synergy.
Yeah, that one also. Okay, so
So Prabhu, what to do with the kids then?
homeschool them.
But then,
One word.
but then like, my mom, like, she has to go to the office and she has to work.
Same.
It's all right. She can give you homework. She can give you the homework in the morning. Go over it with you at night. There was this one Armenian girl. She is an Armenian family that comes every once in a while to the farm, and the girl, when she came to this country, they put her in a school, in a public school. After 1 week, she came home to her mom and dad and said, "Please, I don't want to go to that school." She said, "I can't go to that school. The kids are so bad in that school. It's not good for me." She was only like 10 years old at that time. And she begged the parents, "I don't want to go to any of these schools. You know, they're very bad. There's nothing like this in where we came from, but we're in this country now. I refuse to go to this school." So they took her out of school. They're homeschooled. She is an A+ student. She's way ahead of her time. She's in an advanced program to go to college. She just studies at home with K-12, and her parents. That's it. And she does like almost 8 to 10 hours a day of studies at home, and she's advanced faster than And she refused to go to school because she could see. I mean, she's only 10 years old at that day. She could see that those kids were acting so bad. She didn't want to have anything to do with them. So that's a real testimonial. I was surprised when she told me that because she realized that it was not a good thing for her to go to school with so many demons.
That's how I feel like.
Yeah,
This,
like
my
the
parents
kids-
say no.
Especially if you, like,
She's
we're
doing better studying at home. Now, maybe not everybody can do that, but she likes studies. She likes to excel in studies, and at home you can go much faster
Yeah.
than in school. Because in school, half the time they just waste their time on nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you asked me what you could do, and there you are. There's a solution. Let's see. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do-nots, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. So, therefore, we should understand what the do's are and the do-nots. Right? That means that you're an advanced devotee when you know the do's and the do-nots. So, what are the do's?
Chant.
Huh?
Chant 60 rounds.
Chant is one, yeah. Chanting Hare Krishna.
Worship Krishna.
I know the do nots.
Exactly.
There's so many do.
No, yeah. Study Bhagavad Gita, right? And Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, that's a do.
Wait,
Anything?
so do's.
Do's. Chant Hare Krishna.
Follow the regulated principles.
Yeah, those are the do's.
Hmm?
What are the other do's?
Chant.
What do you eat?
Oh, eat prasadam only.
Prasadam, that's another one, right?
Do service?
What?
Service?
Come to the temple and do service. Yeah.
What service you do?
For me?
Yeah.
You can do service at home also.
By offering.
You can
By
make
serving a
offerings,
plate thing.
you can wash the dishes.
So like if I offer
Raise
is
hands
that a
to wash the
service?
dishes.
Yes. Making an offering to Krishna, right?
It was like
So those are some of the do's, right? And you know what the do nots are, right?
Yeah.
Do not talk nonsense. That's it. That's the do not.
But what if in class, like in school, they're discussing something about some science, like some topic or something?
All nonsense.
when you used to be monkeys.
It's all nonsense.
That's all science is about.
What's that?
Monkeys.
They're teaching us that an explosion happened and no God was there. They literally like.
Did they teach you?
They're saying that an explosion happened and world created.
No, but
That's
their
it. No
mentality.
God.
The end.
That's what they say.
End of chapter 10.
So, Prabhu, I have a colleague from Colombia. So he was telling his kid is asking questions which I can't answer. So I thought, okay, what is it, like math? He said no. It's like he's asking.
God.
Yeah.
Where did God come from?
Yeah. I mean, if there was a big bang, then it like something blew up. Where did that come from?
He actually said that, right?
Yeah.
See, because by the way, the Big Bang Theory has been discredited.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, it's been discredited, but they haven't stopped teaching it in the schools.
What does that mean?
Discredited means it's been proven to be false
Oh, what does he teach at schools?
because they want you to become an atheist.
Wait,
I'm not
really?
kidding.
That's
you.
what hello.
What?
Yeah.
That's what?
Wait, really?
I was
What?
thinking something they are doing at home.
What?
No. It's like school.
What? It's all school.
Then he asked, like, is there somebody in my family, monkey? Like, that is the kids were like, I heard the same words as, like, we talk here.
Yeah.
Same words, like, he was telling, like, he doesn't have any knowledge about, like, he's Colombian, like, so he wouldn't know anything what that we have spoken. Same words, Prabhuji, he was saying, like, this
Now
is what
you
my
know
kid
why I
is.
say that all the time.
Yeah, this kid was asking me. So,
Yeah.
so I explained him some things, like, our philosophy. I said, okay, I can answer, but I don't know whether you believe
You
it
should
or
have
not.
brought him here, no?
So,
That he will get answers.
He said, okay, meaning I like this, and I'll talk to you more about it. I said, okay.
All right, so let's read. I don't know if I read this to you last week or not. This is Mantra 9 of the Isha Upanishad.
Prabhuji, I also had a question. What if you meet an atheist and you say like all the points to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what they are?
But what if the atheist just denies everything you say? Like they don't even.
No. No. If he accepts that he's a person, that's point 1. Then he's already lost. He already lost the argument.
Okay.
Right.
Wait, Prabhuji, could you tell the 6 things again?
Okay.
Or maybe he has.
Number 1. Are you a person? If they say no, you pick up a chair and try and hit them. And they'll say, stop that. That means you're a person.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I hit the wall, it doesn't complain. If I hit the carpet, it doesn't complain. If I hit the couch, it doesn't complain. Because they're not persons. But if I hit the person, then he'll complain. Because you're not allowed to hit me. That means you're a person. It's easy to prove that someone is a person, right? Even though they say I'm not a person.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so that's one. Number 2 is there's a difference between the seer and the seen.
Like
You
people say my car, my
car.
hand.
Yeah.
Then,
They don't
like,
say I car, I
Yeah.
hand, right? They say iPhone. but it doesn't. But it doesn't mean I am the phone. It means it's an internet phone.
Yeah.
Now, some idiot will say, "Oh, boy, iPhone." You know, no, it means internet phone. It doesn't mean I am the phone. So no one says I hand, I nose, I head, I house. They say my head, my house, my car. That means there's a difference between the seer and the seen. Okay, that's 2. Number 3, the instruments of seeing, the process of seeing, the objects of seeing, they're all provided to us. We didn't make them
Okay,
ourselves.
can you repeat that?
The instruments of seeing, meaning the eyes and the brain, right? The process of seeing, the objects that you see, all of them have been provided to us.
How do you spell process? Isn't it a
Process. The process of seeing. It's all been provided to us. So therefore, we are not independent in seeing.
Wait.
Okay. That's 3. Number 4.
The instrument of seeing, the process of seeing, and the objects are all
That
provided.
we see, they're all provided to us. Number 4. My seeing is limited. I can't see on the other side of the wall. I can't see what's happening in Alaska right now, unless maybe I have a television, but I can't. I'm not. You know, we have limited seeing.
Alaska.
Number 5. Because I can't, because my seeing and experiencing things is limited, sometimes I get frustrated. The carpet doesn't get frustrated. The television doesn't get frustrated, but I get frustrated. So that means there's a difference between me, the seer, and things like carpets and televisions and cars and things like that. Because I feel dissatisfaction. Right? And number 5.
Wait, number 6.
Yeah. Nothing moves without intelligence behind it. Like, for example, the car. The car doesn't move unless there's an intelligence behind it. First of all, the car was built by intelligent people. And then, in other words, they got all the parts. You know how many parts there are in a car? It could go up to maybe, I don't know, thousands of parts in the car, right? How did they all come together? Did they come together by themselves?
No.
So, nothing moves without an intelligent person behind it. All those parts came together because they were intelligent people and they put it together. Then the car itself doesn't move unless there's an intelligent person.
Yes, there's a driver.
Yeah.
You said to like counter this if they say like, what's behind God then? Or then you say like, first I'll ask you one question. Do you believe that something can be created by nothing? Do you ask that?
Yes. You believe something is created from nothing. Like, for example, do you think the ocean was created from nothing?
Wait, then now that
They say yes. You say, but then where did all the hydrogen and oxygen come from? It was made of H2O. And you know how much hydrogen and oxygen there is in the water? Where did it all come from? They say, well, it was always there. Well, how do you know? Were you always there to prove that it was always there? You know, so it's, you know, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about nothing can move without an intelligence behind it, right? So, therefore, and then you give the example of the train set. Okay, but the train set, you know, you go buy a train set, you put it together, and then you connect the wires, and you have the remote control, and then you press it and it goes forward, and then you stop it, it stops, and you press it, it goes backward. So it would not move unless you're an intelligent person making it go forward and backward. And the people who made the train set, they're also intelligent people. The train set didn't make itself, see? And there's so many parts in the train set, and you put them all together, there's hundreds of parts in the train set. Yeah. What did you were going to ask a question?
What if they?
No. Okay.
But what if they keep asking you? Then who's behind God? Who's behind God? Answer my question.
Well, the answer to the question is that God is the most intelligent person who possesses infinite energies, and everything you see is an expansion of himself. Just like your body is like a factory. It produces many different substances. And you can go through the list of substances. There's saliva, there's tears, there's sweat, there's hair, there's nails, there's wax, there's stool, there's urine, there's blood, there's marrow, there's plasma.
What's marrow?
Marrow is what's in your bones inside. There's bones, there's bones.
So we should say God created himself. He's the origin of
No. God is eternal.
God was never born.
He was never, no, it's eternal. And we are also eternal because we're part and parcel of God. You see? So the idea is, can you create something from nothing? Like, can you make a house with thin air? No. Right? You need more than thin air to make a house. So the original substance is coming from a person, just like your body is like a chemical manufacturing unit, right? And God's body is like that, but God is much greater than us. We just produce a little bit of sweat. When he sweats, it produces entire oceans. So you cannot imagine the power of God. And because you cannot imagine it, although you're seeing it all the time, you cannot imagine it. You're like the blind man on a sunny day, and someone says, "Oh, the sun is so beautiful today," and he says, "I don't believe it." Really? Why not? Because I can't see it. That doesn't mean the sun's not shining, just because you can't see it. So,
So will these points be able to like
well, if you prove to them that nothing can move without an intelligent person behind it, then you say, yeah, well, we make cars move, we can build bridges, we can build airplanes and make them move.
No,
but who made the real airplanes? The planets. They're moving, right? And then who made the carbon cycle that renews nature? Who made this? Who made that? You know, we made certain things with our intelligence, but there are other much bigger things and much more complicated things. Therefore, we can understand it. There's a greater intelligence.
Prabhuji, Sanskriti tried this with one atheist. I don't know, she got stuck somewhere, I don't remember.
Well, she didn't even know the 6 points just now.
No, 1 year ago, Prabhu.
Well, I don't know. Did you know the 6 points 1 year ago?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, but I think I was not
She was
confident.
struck on one
Actually,
thing.
even Prabhu, I cannot convince people about these things, you know. I feel, okay, if he wants to be like that, let him be. I just cannot convince people that you should believe or, you know.
Well, wait a minute. He was asked a question by some man from Colombia, right? And he explained some things to him. And what did the man say in the end?
Meaning, he said it's very interesting. I would like to know more.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just say that, but I would not.
No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute.
My friend. You don't know.
See, when someone asks you a question, you can convince them. If you go up to someone and try and convince them, you cannot convince them. So you have to be like a first responder. You know what a first responder is?
Like 911.
I suppose, you know, actually, I don't know whether I was right or wrong. My daughter has a friend, you know, an American friend. She comes to our house very often, and even my daughter goes there, and they know that she's a vegetarian. So one day the girl asked, you know,
Asked you.
why don't you eat meat? So we just said, I just said that we don't eat meat because we don't like eating, and I didn't want to tell her that, we don't believe in killing animals and things like that.
Why not?
Because I was so uncomfortable doing that. I felt that, it's okay for them to eat. I just cannot do it. I felt so uncomfortable to say that.
No, but the girl was, see, it was an
And she's
opposite.
like, I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. I'm so uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, they don't want. Because when we were small, we were like told that you're a vegetarian, so don't eat. So, people wouldn't offer us anything, and there was no so much of argument about why you shouldn't eat, why you should eat.
This is America. People always ask who, where, why, when, what. No, you have. Yeah, that's the wrong attitude. I mean, you don't have to be militant about it, but you can explain affectionately why. And then she'll go home and tell her mom, and her mom will get upset.
Yeah,
Call you up.
That's what I thought it would happen, and then it would be a.
That's okay. Then you can tell the mom also.
But they're very nice. They go out of their way to give vegetarian food to my daughter or whatever, and they'll.
How do you know it's always vegetarian?
I mean, that's what they give her, a snack of fruit or something, because my daughter also doesn't eat anything. So.
Okay. Anyway, no, you should not be embarrassed to tell the truth.
I'm not embarrassed. I'm very convinced about it that one has to be a vegetarian. I'm myself very convinced about it, but I cannot tell other people.
Well, wait a minute. Tell us why you're a vegetarian.
See, I'm a vegetarian because all my life I was a vegetarian, but when I was a teenager, I read a book called Heads and Tails, in which they showed how cruelly they treated animals, and I was shocked. I thought I was a vegetarian and I didn't even know.
So why didn't you tell the girl that? You don't have to say, I'm not vegetarian because I believe in Krishna. No. You could have told her when I was your age, or a little bit older than you, I read this book about heads and tails, and it explained how horrible they treat the animals, and I decided I'd never want to eat any meat.
Yes, and I was totally.
So you're telling the truth. You're telling the truth.
I don't use leather bags. I don't wear silks.
Yeah.
I'm quite convinced about it. Nobody can change,
So why didn't you say that?
I tell my kids, but I just cannot tell other people, Prabhu.
But she asked you a simple question. She
So what
didn't.
should I tell a girl of that age? She's
You
telling
tell her your own experience. You were that age, and you read this book, and it explained how horrible they treat the animals. This is why a lot of teenagers become vegans, because they read about how horrible they treat the cows and other animals. They don't want to eat any meat. They don't want to drink milk.
Yeah, even I was vegan for a very long time, and my mother scolded me. She said, you're going the wrong way, and then of course
Well, what if your mother was like you? She wouldn't have said anything, and you'd be, not drinking milk today.
My mother's very religious. In the sense, she believes so much in the scriptures, so she will not go the other way.
But you should be like your mother. You should believe so much in the scriptures that you won't go the other way.
I think I've come back to this way after I met you, Prabhu. Probably I would have gone to vegan.
Well, you haven't come enough. You have to go a little further now. But just share your experience. Your experience has nothing to do with religion. You read a book and explained the horrors of treatment of exploited animals, and you decided, I'm never going to eat meat.
Yeah, many vegans take pride. Why am I a vegan, right? Like, no, there's no religion in that. But if somebody asks, they will explain. So just think it is normal.
So that's a credible understanding.
And you would have saved one or two chickens or.
No, I thought that girl would get offended. I really didn't know how.
Yeah,
Maybe
because-
this the next time that she asks
No,
them
listen.
that.
If they ask you a question and you answer it honestly, they're not going to be offended. They're offended if you force them without a question. They don't ask you a question and you say, you should not eat meat. They'll go home and complain about you. But she asked you a question and you gave her an honest answer. You didn't say you have to believe in Krishna. You told her, when I was your age, I read this book and explain how bad they treat the animals, and I decided I'm not going to eat any meat. A lot of kids, like kids that grow up on a farm, and they have like a pet chicken or a pet rooster, and then the father kills it, and then they cook it, and they ask the kid to eat it, and the kid refuses to eat because they had a friendship with that rooster. Right? They got, little kids get attached to animals, And now the father killed the animal, and they saw the father kill the animal, and they're so horrified. And then now they said, now eat it, you know, and the kids said, I'm not going to eat it. And they become a vegetarian the rest of their life because they saw the horror of killing the animal, and they were friends with the animal. And the animal was relating to the kid, you know, like a rooster will relate to you.
Yeah, there's one lady in my office, she has I don't know how many roosters, she does all the time because she doesn't feel like eating. And she said ever since I had them, I never...
You never eat them, yeah.
That's what she told. She said she became vegetarian.
Because she developed a relationship with the roosters.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Actually,
chickens.
my son had a friend, his father used to work for Kraft, that company, cheese.
Mayonnaise.
And then he saw a video of that Oprah Winfrey show. They showed a video of, you know, how the cows were being slaughtered. And then he came to know his father was working for a Kraft company, which he was so upset. He told his father that you have to resign, and it became such a big issue. Then the father actually kind of, you know, he left that company and then he took a job somewhere else because the child was so disturbed seeing that video of animals being killed. And
Well, you see.
but he was a very mild kind of a guy also, that boy.
No, but see, when kids, especially kids that have an attachment to an animal like a chicken or a cow or a horse, and then they see someone kill it and they offer it to them to eat, you know, they say, no, I'm not going to do it.
How do you explain this? My friend, she's a Hindu Brahmin. She was from her parents, Jammu Kashmir, and then she married. She at the age of everybody used to eat meat. She was 16 years old, and she was telling me something. Then she left meat, and then she married a Muslim person. She started eating meat. Then I took Sanskriti, so we didn't touch anything, and after that we never actually went to her house. So how come Prabhu after she just forgot all that she had aversion? She said, I was never a vegetarian. I just chose to be vegetarian, and I wanted.
So her parents were not vegetarians.
Yeah. Oh, because of that.
Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Oh, okay. And so what's the difference between her parents who are Hindus and Muslim? No difference. They both eat meat. There's no difference between the Hindus and the Muslims when the Hindus start eating meat and so forth.
Yeah, so she suffered a lot in her life, and her parents too. Keep fighting with each other, all the family. Because of that, probably.
Because of what? The fact that she's married a Muslim? Why were they fighting? You can call her up and ask her.
No problem, I know that you can.
Yeah.
Probably, like you said, that if someone asks a question, then you can answer it. But then in 5th grade, my teacher asked me, like, why do you like respect the cow? Like, why do you not eat the cow? And I told him, like, then he was irritated, like he got offended.
No, you should say, well, I'm not like you. I don't eat my mother. You're eating your mother.
That's rude. I can't say that.
You should offend him. You should offend him.
So like he got like when I explained him why we don't eat the cow, then he got like he got irritated, and he was like, well, I'm not interested in what you have to say.
And you should tell him I'm not interested in your opinion either. And don't be afraid. I mean, you know, if he's being militant, so you can be militant too. And you say, you know, if you continue like this, I'll complain to the principal.
What do you think?
Huh? You should tell him, yeah, you shouldn't be afraid. You tell him, look, you're trying to intimidate me.
No, he was not intimidating. He just got like irritated.
That is intimidating. I'm not interested. What? He asks you a question, you answer honestly and say, I'm not interested in what you're saying. Well, why did he ask a question then? He was trying to intimidate you. And you should say, you know, if you continue like this, I'll complain to the principal.
But he always supported me, like in my studies and like.
He might have supported you more if you ate meat. He would say, I got another Hindu on my side. No, see, don't. It's just so what? He didn't like your answer. What was your answer, by the way?
Like I said that, like she's like cow is our mother. She gives us milk. So like we wouldn't kill someone who's like our mother. That's why we don't
Okay.
kill the cow.
And he didn't like your answer.
Yeah.
So it means he's a demon. That's all. He's a demon. Say, why would he ask you the question like that? He knows you don't eat meat, right? What was his question?
He
Why
said,
don't you
why
eat?
don't you eat the cow? Like,
Okay.
why do you respect the cow so much, and why don't you eat?
Well, you answered it. We respect the cow like our own mother because we drink the milk of the cow. So it's one of the 7 mothers in Hindu religion.
I didn't say that she's one of the 7 mothers, but I said that she's like our mother, so we can't eat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, the people that ask you a question like that and they don't like your answer, they are trying to intimidate you. You understand? He could have said, "Oh, now I understand. Thank you very much." He could have said like that, right? But no, he said, "I'm not interested." What did he say exactly?
He said I'm not like. He said that. Well, I'm not interested in what you're saying.
Yeah. So why did he ask the question then? Why would he ask you a question? Why do you eat meat? You answered honestly, and he said, "I'm not interested in what you're saying." It doesn't make sense. You see. So he's not really a teacher. He's a low class person. To subject you to like that to his, he's an authority. You're accepting him as an authority, and then he says to you, I'm not interested in what you're saying." Then why'd you ask the question? Obviously, he wanted to know why you don't eat cow. You answered honestly, and then he makes you feel bad by saying, "I'm not interested in what you said."
Well, I wasn't expecting that he would say that because he was usually very kind to me.
No, that's right. That's why I'm saying. You didn't expect that. You expect him to say, "Oh, thank you very much. Now I understand." Right?
Yeah.
But he purposely said it like that to intimidate you.
Oh.
So now you can understand he's a low class person. He's not really a teacher. He's some street bum. No, he's no better than a street bum because that's what a street person would do. They try to intimidate you. It shouldn't be. I mean, you don't want to get in an argument with these people, but you understand now. You understand who he is. He's a very low class person to act like that. He could have very well said, "Thank you very much. I respect your opinion."
But that was only once. Like the rest of the time, he would always support me. But yeah.
What do you mean support you?
Like he would always whenever I'd have some problem or just I didn't understand something or I was not.
He's being paid to do that. He was not paid to ask you that question. So that was off his pay scale, that question. So that proved who he is. But he's being paid to help you. But did he help the other students also?
No, he would just always walk with me or he'd always talk with me. Well,
You mean he didn't instruct the other students?
he did instruct, but he would he would teach other kids too, but he would support
No, she's talking about that class where
Where-
she talked about soul
yeah,
and the
that
students
class.
troubled
The
her.
students would always bully me and everything, and I would tell him.
Because she
I'm
did
tired.
presentation. I think you did
And-
presentation on science also, right? That Prabhu did.
Yeah,
Punyam
that-
Gandham, yeah, that also.
No, not that one. I did the one
Soul.
about how the plants also are
Yeah, you did
the soul, about the soul, and about how
you
the
did
plants.
the what's called organic
Jagdish
hydrocarbons.
Yeah, and based on an actual scientific, yeah. But the
So he
students-
liked it?
He was fine with it, but he told me that if you're gonna have a presentation like that, then you should expect that the kids would react like that.
But you should not expect that he would say, "I'm not interested." If that's what
Yeah,
you believe, I'm not
but,
interested. So that just proves that he's a low class guy.
Okay.
And his niceness to you is not really factual. You see, people like that, they want to dominate the minds of kids, and the other kids they can dominate easily. You, because you have some background in philosophy, he realized he couldn't dominate you through an argument. So therefore, he was trying to dominate you by being especially nice to you, so that it lowers your.
Later, he actually tried to like give me onion.
Of course, you don't even have to explain all that. I mean, I'm explaining to you what he's like, right? He wanted to dominate you in a different way than he dominates the other kids, because you have some background in philosophy. So he tried to do it by what's called, basically it's called pastoral abuse. He uses his position of authority to groom you. Grooming means he gets you ready to violate your own principles. The principles that you learn at home and at the temple. He was grooming you so that you would become vulnerable to his kindness and lower your resistance to his nonsense.
Yeah, and then later, after like maybe a few months later, he wanted to like some people came and they were teaching us like how to cut things and everything, and they cooked some salad type like thing, made soup thing that had onion and garlic in it, and then he like asked me several times.
You can take this. This is
Exactly,
really good.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's wonderful. You know, it's vegetarian.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, try some. You know,
Yeah, try some, and you know, you'll become initiated into meat eating. You start with the onion and garlic, and later on you'll eat the meat also. Now, you see, these are demons, and they have positions of authority, and they use that authority to groom. Grooming means they prepare you to be a demon. They're dangerous people, because you have to accept their authority, and they're psychologists. They know, okay, they find your vulnerable point. Your vulnerable point is kindness. You're reacting to kindness. He's like a father figure. He's like an authority. So he's preparing you, you know. And then when he sees that your defense mechanism is down, he attacks. And attack was the onion and garlic.
Yeah, but I refused. Like I kept refusing.
Okay, because you have some training. You see, that's why we have our classes. That's why we discuss all these things. So it trains you to be able to recognize when someone is trying to take advantage of you.
But I used to think that was just what he believed. I never realized that he was trying to take advantage of me.
Now I realize that's like every single teacher in my school.
Yeah, they're just like 99% of them are demons. 99%, huh?
Only one of our teachers is vegan.
This guy.
Prabhu, one teacher is so good. I gave her Bhagavad Gita. She took it and she's reading to her mother.
Yeah. Her mother is sick. Like she broke her.
They're waiting for Russian Bhagavad Gita. We don't have, but
They're Russians, yeah. No.
Okay,
it's
so let's see what time is it? 9:30. Whoa. All right, we'll stop right now.
What was the seventh point? There nothing? Was there
There's no
anything?
No. 6 points is
Oh, that's.
there's 6 points of logic where there's no scripture.
Okay, then
7th point is scripture.
11 points.
7th point is when you begin to understand that this supreme intelligence is God. You need scripture to understand it. But up to the 6th point, you can prove that there's superior intelligence in the universe.
Yeah, 58 minutes only. 58. Not even an hour. It feels like the class is shorter than usual.
Yeah.
Because we started late. We started half an hour late.
I told you.
What is tomorrow's class homework? Do you remember?
Yeah.